This is Tier Portal's project view, which is the main view that you'll work with under normal conditions. Right now, I have everything collapsed, so it might look a little bit different when you first come into here, but I wanted to go through each section, sort of section by section, so that we can have a good understanding of where everything is. So this main window in the middle, where this blue bit is with the gears, is your main working window. It's where all of your code will open, where settings will open, and things like that. And around the edges, we have our start bar, which is not the same as the portal view. This is where we find things like our project tree, and inside here, things like plant objects, devices, things that we would be programming or parameterizing or configuring. We also have some information around details view. And if you go into view, you can add other things like reference projects and things like that to this left bar. This will most of the time be open. You would usually keep this bar open, or this tab, sorry, open to navigate your project. For example, opening up a PLC and coming to the program blocks and opening your main object. You can see that in the center window, it loads what the object is and gives us our sort of working environment. On the right-hand side, you'll notice that this has changed. Tabs, the tabs that we can have changed because they are dynamic around what you're looking at. For example, if I minimize that, some of them disappear. When I bring this back up from the bottom down here, we get some additional tabs again. So they depend on what you're currently working with. And if I expand these out, right now we get things like instructions for our ladder logic environment. We get testing, which allows us to change the call environment if we were online and things like that. Breakpoints if we were working with a textual language. We have tasks for things like find and replace. If we wanted to find and replace tags in the code that we're working with. We have libraries, which looks like a small section, but this is an entirely different part of Tier Portal, which we'll go through later in the course. And then we have some add-ins, which we'll touch on later as well. But really, the way this window is set up is main stuff in the middle, navigation on the left, task-orientated things on the right. And then down at the bottom here, you have your properties, which will pop up automatically depending on what you're doing. For example, if I right click on this block here and go to properties, we see that it slides up and displays some properties. Typically, people have this popping up and falling away by itself or auto hiding by itself, which is managed on this button here. Or you can click and expand it permanently, so even when you aren't working with it, it stays there and displays the last thing that you clicked on, which can be nice for things like cross-references. For example, if I go to information here and then go to cross-references, when I click on an object, you can see the cross-references updating as I change my selection. But typically speaking, what you'll find down here is properties for something that you have selected, information about the things you have selected, and then diagnostics about the PLC system or device you are working with. And whilst that sounds really sort of small that we've managed to discuss this quickly, you'll find that the options, information, and configuration around these windows that sit around your main window in the middle, all this stuff down the left hand, right hand, and underneath, there is a lot of configuration that can be done here and a lot of information that can be found that will help you do things like diagnostics checking, fault finding, cross-referencing, searching your project, creating objects, renaming and deleting objects and things like that. And we will explore this as we go through the course in much more detail, because each thing that we come through will be somewhere in this window. So as I said in the previous lesson, Portal view is down here, and this is the project view. It's very unlikely, certainly in my case, it's unlikely that you'll go and use the portal view. It's useful, but this is the view that you will become most accustomed to.